Hey everyone, welcome back to Halo Wars 2 Mythbusters. This is a series where we put units to the test and see if we learn some new things in the game. Now, it's been heavily disputed if air is really OP in Halo Wars 2. Let's put that to the test, shall we? We're going to start off by throwing a full pump of Desi Banshees, but these do not have the Boundless Fury or Boundless Siphon upgrade, up against a full pop of Combat Tech Marines, because a lot of people either say that anti-air is not so good against air, or that Marines aren't that good. But nonetheless, we're going to send a full pop at each other and see, really, which one of these two units is stronger than the other.
Local units. Local units.
So this was pretty crazy to see. Not only did the Marines win overwhelmingly, but if you look at the population, over 2/3 of the Marines are still alive, and most of them got veteran too from that engagement. So it's that was really neat to see. But no one's going to have a full pop of Marines to counter anti-air in most games. So we're going to start mixing up the army composition a little bit. So let's go ahead and do this test again, but we're going to mix some Nightingales in here and reduce the amount of Marines and see if we still get the same result against Desi Banshees.
Upgrade researched.
So we get the same result. If you notice, the Nightingales got annihilated pretty quickly, and that's no surprise given to the plasma torpedo from the Banshees. But we ended up getting kind of similar results on the remaining population for the Marine army. So it looks to be like a Nightingale Marine composition works fairly well, almost just as well as entirely being of Marines taking on a full pop of Banshees. So let's continue mixing up our army composition. Next, we're going to throw in some Wolverines. So we're going to have, I believe it's 6 Nightingales, 18 Marines, and 10 Wolverines, making up a full pop, and then send that at the Desi Banshees again, and let's see if that changes the outcome of the test.
Local units.
So the Banshees get annihilated again, and this is pretty much a very realistic army composition. If you're going against someone who's going anti-air, you do want to mix in Wolverines, Marines, and Nightingales. I think that's pretty realistic that you would see in a real game, and you could see that the Banshees stand no chance. So let's go ahead. We can continue with this test, however. We're going to get the Boundless Fury and the Boundless Siphon, make the Desi Banshees OP that we all know, and we're going to redo these tests and see if the outcome changes. So first up, let's try a full pop cap of Marines, Combat Tech Marines, against the Boundless Fury and Boundless Siphon Desi Banshees. So the Boundless Fury and the Boundless Siphon upgrades definitely do make a difference in this test. If you can recall at the beginning of the video, I believe we had around 84 or 86 population remaining of Marines. So that upgrade actually almost doubles their efficiency all the way down to 54 Marines. So that was a big jump. But nonetheless, the Marines still win. Marines, OP, and looks like most of them did get veteran here. So we're going to move on and continue with our test. And we're going to sprinkle in some Nightingales and see what happens then.
Our base is under attack.
I may have lied when I said let's sprinkle in some Nightingales because I realized that we also included some Wolverines in that test. So we had a very realistic army composition here, and it won overwhelmingly against the OP Desi Banshees. And, you know, we saw this at the beginning of these tests, and it's continued here, but the Banshees have never even gotten close to an anti-air kind of composition that we're building here. So I really don't think air is OP. I know a lot of people complain that air is OP, or that air needs to be nerfed, or whatever the case, or anti-air needs to be buffed, but I really don't think that this is as big of a problem as, say, what's happening with Vultures right now. You don't see Vultures really demolishing bases as much as we do right now in this kind of balance of the game, and I really don't know why they did that. That's for another video. But if anything needs to be nerfed in the air category, it's definitely Vultures. So we're going to continue here anyway. We're gonna move the army composition into a full pop of Wolverines just to see how they perform. But I still believe that the right army composition is to have Marine, Nightingale, and Wolverine. It's more cost effective, and it looks like it performs really well too. All right, let's go ahead and go on with this next test. So coming to this final conclusion, the Wolverines win by a majority, and I would say air is not OP at all. In fact, I think air is totally fine. And I've kind of always, I said this earlier, but I've always felt that way. And I think Vultures need to be nerfed in the air category out of anything. So that's going to conclude this Mythbusters. I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. And if this is still heavily disputed, we can return and revisit this with some different army compositions. But I think we tested an army composition that is most realistic that you would see in the game. And, you know, I think a lot of it just has to do with the way that people build their units and the way they use their units. Of course, leader powers weren't used in here, so that could affect the outcome of some of these tests, but I don't think it's going to sway it to be that the Banshees will win every time at all. If there's a playlist for all the other Halo Wars 2 Mythbuster stuff we have done and will do, so be sure to check that out if you want to see some other interesting tests in the game. And keep it logged to Team Respawn for more cheddarful Halo Wars 2 content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you, James.